What's up? So I got into the Overwatch beta a couple weeks ago, and I've been having an absolute blast with this game, considering the fact that this is actually my first-person shooter, and I didn't really expect much of myself. I didn't expect myself to be good. I didn't even expect myself to have that much fun. I knew that the game was going to be a great game. I just didn't know if the fact that it was a new genre and something that I didn't really have a lot of experience in, I didn't know if this was something that would interest me. But it turns out I'm actually having... excuse the pun, but I've been having a blast playing this game. So I went through a few iterations of this video. I did a first initial thoughts. I don't think I uploaded it, and if I did, it's probably crap, but I don't think I ended up uploading it. And then I recorded it another one or two times, but I realized that I didn't really, when I first got the invite, like, I played it, but I didn't play a lot. So I wanted to give it more of an educational review, I guess, once I got a few more hours put into it. So I think at this time I probably played a good maybe like 70 to 90 games. My mains are Genji, Pharah, Lucio, and I guess I'd say Reinhardt. I play a fair amount of Reinhardt. I really like him, but I guess I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts now that I've been in here for 3 weeks or a month or whatever, and I think that I can offer a pretty good perspective given the fact that this is my first FPS game. So let's just dive right into it. Overall, I think balance is actually pretty damn good, considering that Blizzard has always had a history of balance issues. I think that every ultimate is so strong that it balances itself out, if that makes any sense. Some ultimates, I can tell, are definitely catered towards more of the casual player. Not casual, that's not the right word. It's definitely catered towards more of the lower tier skilled players, like the ones that are just joining FPSs. So if you look at somebody like Soldier 40 or 76, right? He's an ult where you pop it, and anybody who's inside this giant circle on your screen gets hit. You don't have to actually have your crosshair over them, as long as they're in the circle. And the circle's a pretty large region, so it's pretty easy to kind of just hit someone and nuke them down really quick. I think that if you look at it with face value, right, that's kind of, I mean, it's not really that fun of an ult. I mean, it's not like it takes any skill, it's not like any of that stuff. But, oh, that's my stomach. Excuse me. I do think that that's a great ult for somebody. I think Soldier 76 in general is just a great character for somebody starting out in the FPS world. So I think that having ults like that, and let's see, what's another ult? I guess the Pharah ult could be considered that, even though it's a little bit more like, that really puts you in a spot where you have to make sure that you're not vulnerable to the other team. So I mean, like, every ult has its pros and cons. There's a weakness to it. Like Reaper, it has a very good ult, but you know when it's coming, and you can probably kill him before it actually ends up going off if you're good enough. So I think overall, balance-wise, with abilities and guns and all that other stuff, the only... I mean, people who know me they know exactly what I'm about to say, but the only real hero I actually have a problem with is Bastion. And the reason I have a problem with Bastion is because if you're starting out as a newer player, right, turrets are just way too strong in this game. Torbjorn's turrets and Bastion himself are just very strong. Symmetra's turrets are also good, but Symmetra's you can one-shot, so it's not a problem. However, getting back to Bastion, Bastion has a shield. He can move, he has a tank mode, and he's basically automatic fire. Like, he's super easy to play, and, like, not just play, I'm sorry, he's super easy to kill people with. He's hard to play because he has a giant weakness, which is if you hit him from behind, he can't turn and hit you. He has to de-siege or whatever, and turn around and get you. So it's actually really easy to kill him with like a Reaper or a Tracer or a Genji, somebody who can quickly get behind him and one-shot him. So is he balanced? Yes, he's balanced. The reason I have an actual problem with Bastion is just for the fact that he is so strong if you don't know how to counter him. So it kind of, for newer players, like for the beta weekend, so I've never actually had a problem with Bastion outside of that beta weekend because most people quickly realize that Bastion's actually pretty easy to kill. You know the spots that Bastion's going to end up. He's going to be in the corner where, you know, 2/3 of him are blocked by the wall. A good Bastion player will do that. Some of the mediocre ones will place him on top of a, you know, one of the payloads, and it's really cool to see the different ways that Bastion's being used, but if you're new to the game, I could see him being like a huge hurdle to like for some people to learn. I don't think this affects the majority of the player base, but when I saw the open beta weekend, you were getting a lot of people in there for the first time, a lot of new FPS players as well. I could tell that Bash just tore teams apart. And the only reason I bring this up too is that I know that Blizzard actually agrees with me on this, or rather I agree with Blizzard on this, in that they think that turrets are just too strong at the moment. Torbjorn and Bastion are apparently getting like major reworks coming in the new year, so I don't really expect anything big to change anytime soon, but I do think that changes would be pretty beneficial to not just them, but for the game as a whole. But I don't want to spend too much time on turrets, but that's basically my whole balanced turret rant that I had planned to talk about. But let's also talk about team comp and synergy since we're at it. I think that this game is... It balances itself almost. There's a counter for everything, right? So I mentioned that Reaper, Tracer, and Genji are like pretty easy counters to Bastion, and you know, Bastion's probably a counter to a tank, and like all this other stuff. So I think if you get good at reading other team compositions and the map and getting to know how to counter them, that's probably the most difficult part of this game, is just getting that team comp down. Like in League of Legends, half the battle is just setting up your team and countering the other team, knowing how the other team's going to actually play their comp. That's not even half the battle right there. That's such a huge part of the game. So when I first picked up Overwatch, I was a little upset that you were able to switch heroes out in the middle of the match, because I've been accustomed to MOBAs over the last year. So, you know, I'm used to picking a hero at the beginning and then playing that hero throughout the entire time. So, like, the first hero that you pick the first time is what you're stuck with. And you have to make sure you pick it right the first time. Otherwise, you know, you may be at a disadvantage, or vice versa. So, I think that the fact, after playing a lot of games, I realized that being able to switch your hero on the fly is actually really beneficial to the game. And, coming from somebody who was highly against it at first, I think that, yes, it's going to be annoying to play against 6 Tracers. It's going to be annoying to play against 6, I don't know, Bastions or whatever, but they have a glaring weakness. Like, Tracer is going to get 2-shot, you know? And, I think it, in a way, it balances itself. So, getting that down, the synergy and the team comp is definitely something that'll make this game a really good esport to watch, too. So, I'm very excited to see the esports potential of this game. But yeah, so kind of moving on to my next topic, I wanted to talk about support play, right? So I have a background of healing in World of Warcraft, supporting in like League of Legends and Heroes of the Storm and stuff like that. That's what I like to do. I like to support my teammates. I find a lot of pride in being able to say like, hey, you know, you made that really awesome play, but I helped you do it. So, I have a lot of fun with that stuff. So supports in this game are a little bit different. You have I think 4 or 5 of them. You have Mercy, right? She's like your typical healer, and she has a beam where when she targets you, she gives you really strong single target heals. She can also target you and give you a buff that increases your power. That's really strong too. And then she can't really fly per se, but she can glide, I guess, to an ally and kind of help herself with her positioning. So you have Symmetra. She doesn't heal. She places turrets around the field, which are pretty strong. But she can place like little turrets around and give shields to her allies. But the only issue I have with her is that the shield is like a one-time thing. Not really like one time, but you kind of place them on them when they spawn, and you don't place it back on them until they die, type thing. Or like the shield has to disappear. I'm not actually 100% sure on how her shield works, but it's not like a disc priest where you're constantly placing like shields out, which is kind of unfortunate because I think Symmetra can get kind of boring at times, but I like her. I think my favorite support might actually be Lucio. I really like the fact that he can give both healing and increased speed, so when you wipe, you can get back to the battlefield faster. His healing's passive, so I can actually focus on doing more damage while healing at the same time. And I actually really think his ult is amazing. I think his ult is really strong. For those of you who don't know, I basically hit the ground, and anybody within a radius of me, any allies, get a giant shield that shrinks over time. So, like, when I use it, I think my shield will bring my health up to, like, 600, and then slowly decay over time. Or quickly decay, rather. But yeah, Lucio's really fun, and you can like wall jump on him, and you can go really fast and give your teammates speed. I think he's a very utility-based support with passive heals, which is awesome for new players. My cousin started playing the game. He played the open weekend, and I recommended to him. I said, hey, you know, you want to play support, right? He's like, I want to try out Mercy, and I let him try it out, of course, but I recommended Lucio just because the fact that it was a lot easier to try to, instead of trying to heal and do damage at the same time, you just set it up and you go. And he ended up having a blast with Lucio, so I'm really glad that worked. And then the last healer is, oh gosh darn it, I can't remember. So the last healer is Zenyatta, and I'll admit I don't have a lot of experience playing Zenyatta, but he is very, very strong, which is actually really cool because he's actually very offensive for a support. He'll place orbs on people that increases the damage that they take. He also just does a lot of damage himself. Then he has an invincibility for his ultimate. So Zenyatta is really cool, and I mean, he's not one of my favorites, so I don't play a lot of him, but I just feel like each healer has its own unique role, and it plays well in its own unique comp, which is really great to see from this game. Every hero feels extremely, extremely unique. They all have different ultimates. They all have different, just like personalities. It's great. The character design had like 100% on point, 110% on point. So props to Blizzard for that. But moving on from supports, quickly going into tanks and like attacking. Or not attacking. What am I even thinking? Tanks and like assassins and stuff like that. I don't really have anything to say other than I feel like they're all pretty balanced. Again, like they all have their own unique roles. Each hero is strong with different comps. You can get some really sick ult combos, like the Zarya ult plus Pharah ult is deadly. Like, you will wipe an entire team with that if you get that off at the right time. It's crazy. And I think one thing I'd just like to add is that I've actually been pleasantly surprised with the heroes. The heroes that I thought that I wouldn't like. So I never thought that I'd like Symmetra, right? I never thought for a second that I'd be able to play Genji. And I picked them up and I was like, wow, these guys are actually pretty fun. I think the one I was surprised the most with had to be Lucio, though, because I felt like, oh, his heal must be, like, his healing must be boring because it's all passive, all that other stuff. I ended up actually really, I think he might be one of my favorites, to be completely honest, just because he's so utility based, and he really caught me by surprise, which is really good for Blizzard. I think that's actually one of the strengths of this game, is that, yeah, at face value, this game looks really fun, and people are really excited about it, but it's also a big surprise. I have another friend who thought the game was stupid when it first released, and I got into the beta, and he ended up playing more the beta weekend than I did because he ended up having so much fun with it. He was pleasantly surprised. So good job, Blizzard. I will give you kudos to you. I just want to wrap this up shortly, but there's a couple more things I want to talk about. Let's go over Scoreboard, because this is a really heated topic, actually. A lot of people are complaining about the lack of the scoreboard. So for those of you who don't know, there is a personal scoreboard. I'm timing myself to see how many times I can say scoreboard in like 30 seconds. But there's a personal chart for you to see how many killing blows you have, how many assists you have, how much damage you've done. There's usually a column for like something character specific. So like how many sentries have I put up, how many revivals have I gotten, how many of the Lucio ults like have hit. So it's pretty unique to your character. You can't see how other people are doing. However, you can see your relative rank if you're in the top 3. So like, let's just say I am top eliminations with 27. It will say there'll be like a medal with a 1 in it, or if I'm second, it'll be 2. And the same thing for like killing blows and stuff. But I had mixed opinions on this. At first, I was like, no, I want to see everybody score. Same thing with Heroes of the Storm too. Like, I want people to see me with 18 killing blows, number 1, if that's what I did. Like, I deserve the attention. I deserve to have some recognition for the work that I did. Like, maybe I feel like I carried a game, but people can't see it. But after playing a lot of games, I have to actually side with Blizzard on this. Same thing goes for HOTS too. I actually think that you don't need to see other people's killing blows to have fun in this game. I don't need to have other people see how well I did. There's there's already a reward for people, and that's the play of the game, which is a problem in and of itself just because of the way that the algorithm is written. But once they get that worked out and they can give supports more attention with that, I think that that's really what all that people will need. I really don't think that, hey, look, let me flex my EP here with 18 killing blows. Like, that's just not important to the game. Killing blows don't matter in this game at all. So, I mean, you get credit either way. It's going to give you the same exact message if you get a killing blow or an assist. It's going to say eliminated so-and-so. That's all I need. And to be completely honest, that satisfied me more than I think, knowing that I was number 1 on a list. So, hopefully that covers everything I wanted to say about the scoreboard, because to be honest, I have a lot to say about all these things, but I want to keep this under 15 minutes, but I don't think that's going to happen. So the last thing I want to talk about is the business model. This is a very heated topic around the Reddit forums, and I think just around Overwatch in general. So before they actually announced at BlizzCon that it was going to be a one-time payment where you pay $60 or $40 depending on what version you get, and you get the full game. You get all 21 characters, you get all maps, you get all access, there's no monthly fees. Before that, people were stuck. They thought that this game was going to either go subscription model, which I don't think was very popular, but I do think people thought that, and free-to-play was like the big thing. Everybody thought this game was going to go free-to-play, and to be completely honest with you, I kind of assumed it was going to go free-to-play because I thought this was going to go more of the MOBA route. I'm very glad it did not go to free-to-play. I think that the subscription model that Blizzard took is actually the correct one, which is pay once, you get everything. I'm 120% supportive of skins. I think skins are great because it gives people, after the fact, more ways to throw money in Blizzard, which is always good because that's more money to put back into the game, to put into the esports scene. I am very supportive of that. I mean, I bought a lot of skins in Heroes and in League of Legends, so I mean, it's not like it's something that I wouldn't put my own money into. And the thing is, like, that doesn't give you any actual power gains in the game. It's literally just a skin for your character, so it makes you feel unique, and people get very attached to their characters. Like, personally, I love Lucio. I would buy a skin for him in a heartbeat. Or Genji. Genji would look sick in a really cool skin. So for me, like, those characters are my favorite. I would gladly lay down like $15 max, but like, actually that's probably a little high. I'd probably lay down like no more than $10 for a skin if it was really cool, because I really like the Mecha Tassadar one, but I'm not gonna pay for that. But yeah, so people get attached to these characters, and they feel like they almost identify themselves through them. So if they get a skin, they'll feel different, they feel cool. That's something that Blizzard can easily implement, and they already have. As you can see, some of the pre-ordering bonuses is some skins. So I'm totally supportive of that. And one thing that I'm afraid of that I don't think Blizzard's going to do, and people are freaking out about this left and right, is I don't think Blizzard's going to do well, we're going to launch 21 heroes at once, but in 6 months we're going to release 3 more heroes. But you could only get them if you pay $10 per hero, or maybe a pack. Maybe if you pay $20 and you get a pack with a new map, and then at that point you're actually splitting the community. And I'm not going to get too into this because I feel like a lot of other sources and videos have covered this, but my personal opinion is that this would quickly destroy the esports scene. Any hopes that this game has for an esport would get absolutely demolished. Player base is going to get upset. Blizzard has to work on their trust with their fan base, especially with WoW. Their other games, not so much. I feel like overall, their other games, people are pretty happy with their Blizzard customer relations, but you don't want this turning into a World of Warcraft with that issue. So, and to be honest, I don't think it is. But yeah, so I think that they just keep this business model the way it is, with maybe free character updates. If they put a new character in the game, it should be available to everyone. It shouldn't be behind a paywall, but still add in skins so you can still keep getting them money after the fact. Because to be honest, Blizzard does quality work. If they take their time and put in some really good skins, they'll get the money that they need out of it to keep making this game, keep pushing it forward. And I'd love to see some new maps. I'd love to see. I guess I'll talk into my last topic, which is the things I'd like to see from the game. I'd like to see a ranked mode. I know they're kind of working on it right now, but I think ranked needs to be a thing. I'd like to see more support for supports, if that makes any sense. I don't see supports get play the game ever. That's something that really upsets me, because I feel like sometimes we'll be losing a battle and I'll do like a clutch ultimate and I'll save everyone and then we end up winning the game. Not to brag, but that happened today in one of my games, and kind of upsets me when I see the play of the game is just a 3-kill multi-kill, where it's like, well, okay, I could have done that too, but I was busy saving everybody's asses. So, I'd like to see some more of that. And, to be honest, I just like to see the esports side of this grow. I'd like to see some teams come out. I'd like to see just more esports features. And I mean, I don't really have any suggestions. I'm not a designer. I'm not into any of that stuff. But I really enjoy watching this game, and I really hope that it does well. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Overwatch. I know this is a little bit lengthy, but I had a lot to say. I also like to talk a lot. And I talk really fast, so that's something that I have to work on. But anyway, so if you actually did end up listening through the entire thing, please put a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Any comments or suggestions you have for me, I greatly appreciate, as long as it's civil. And I'll see you guys next time.
Let's drop the beat. Oh, this is my jam. Drop it.
Back into the fray. Hostiles. Defend the objective.
Play of the game.